Hello and welcome to this episode of Snack Break, the podcast pop on while preparing your cup of tea or ideal snack or beverage. Today, we're going to be reacting to something very, very exciting indeed. This is the second teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday. For those unaware, last week, Marvel Studios dropped the first teaser trailer, surprise, surprise, for Avengers Doomsday. It was, spoiler alerts, a teaser revealing that Chris Evans, the actor, not the radio DJ, would be returning as the OG Captain America in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday, which releases late December 2026. We now have our second teaser, and, well, our second teaser has been officially released. There were other teasers out there, although I honestly haven't seen any of them. This is my first exposure. I've seen a few images and things, but this is my first exposure to a full, let's be honest, we know it's a Thor trailer. Chris Hemsworth is literally listed as a collaborator in the video. So without further ado, I think we should probably just get into it. We're going to be reacting to the Avengers Doomsday teaser. Let's go. Right, let's see. We didn't really get much. We didn't really get much from the Chris Evans trailer, or Steve Rogers trailer, sorry. So, curious to see what we get. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Father, all my life, I have answered every call. To honor, duty, to war.
Already a bit more serious as Thor, which I'm okay for.
Fate
I'm up for it.
has given me something I never sought.
Is that the kid?
A child,
Yeah, it's the kid.
a life untouched by the storm.
Okay.
Learn to be the strength of the old fathers,
Ooh.
so that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her. Not as a warrior, but as warmth. To teach her not battle, but stillness. The kind I never knew. Please, Father, heed my word.
Oh, I like it. We're getting Shakespeare Thor will return in Avengers Doomsday. Yes. Let's go. December 18th, 2026. 11 months. 17. Did something happen there? What was that? Hello? Was that just the jump from the time last week? Or are they hiding something? Okay, I don't think so. I think I'm just being stupid, but I'm sure people have theories. Wow. Very, very nice. Immediately, although we knew Thor was going to be in Avengers Doomsday, this isn't a massive surprise. We know he's going to return. Chris Evans has basically confirmed it. We have known for quite a bit now. It's likely he's going to be returning in either Doomsday or Secret Wars. Makes sense. He's one of the hard hitters of the MCU that he would be returning in Doomsday. That said, I think this is actually a much better trailer than the Steve Rogers trailer, because obviously a lot of it, similarly to the Steve Rogers trailer, is just a lot of pretty scenery. Isn't this nice? Isn't it lovely? Cinematography, which I'm all here for, but it's a teaser. We do want to see a little bit more than that maybe, but it does actually tell us quite a lot, and by wrapping that in the sort of Thor praying to Odin in a way, or calling out to Odin, or whatever you want to call it, I think is a really clever move. It tells us that this Thor is going to be a bit of a transition from the Taika Waititi Thor that we've seen recently, which does make sense, perhaps going for more of whether or not we're going right back to the sort of more serious Thor that we had at the very start of the MCU, but maybe going for something a bit more Infinity War, where we can have those comedic streaks, which Chris Hemsworth can exercise really well, whilst equally being balanced with the seriousness and the tone that Avengers Doomsday is representing as being a B-field Avengers team-up. So I think that is very interesting. It's immediately telling us we're taking, not a step away from the Taika Waititi side of things, because I do really like that, but equally, I've seen a lot of people saying online recently, it's time for a more serious Thor, or it's time to return to, that more Shakespearean, godlike Asgardian Thor. And I think the time has maybe come. Doomsday is quite a good time to transition into that. And then if we do get a Thor 5, and he's presumably, we've had some evidence online recently that it looks like he will survive these 2 films, that would be a good way to transition into Thor 5. So it tells us that, which is really nice. We've got a little... I'm glad they're committing to Love as
something I never sought.
As a character. I know Love and Thunder wasn't like 100% well received. I personally quite liked it, but it tells us they're committing to that. And then she's not there, which is very interesting. It does sort of further... I've seen theories online that the Doom is going to be basically going around and doing a cosmic kidnapping with the likes of Franklin Richards, you've Steve Rogers' kid who's like messed up time. We've also got Love here, who's Thor's adopted child. So I think it not only tells us they're committing to Love as a character, which I do think is a good move, and like fashioning something that might not always have been 100% popular into part of what we're hoping will be a really strong movie, I think is a very wise choice. And then she's not there. Obviously, Thor is going to go fight Doom.
Defeat one more enemy.
Defeat Doom.
Return home to her.
Although it does say return home to her. Maybe perhaps she hasn't been kidnapped. It's just a theory, but it does tell us a lot more about Thor. I think it's a really interesting teaser overall. It's very, very cool. Shows further evolution of Thor as a character. We get quite a lot of personal, sort of more intimate character moments here. He wants to raise a child. He wants to raise her peacefully to ensure that they don't have to go through, that Love doesn't have to go through the same suffering that he did, obviously, as a child, which we've witnessed in the MCU. And he wants to go off and fight one last battle. I don't know. This is giving me more the vibe that... Is he gonna die? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But all in all, I do think this is a very strong trailer. Personally, I find it to be much stronger than that of the Steve Rogers trailer. Although we already had more of an indication that Chris Hemsworth would be returning as Thor in this film. This is, I think it tells us a lot about the character, whilst also balancing, just some more of the sort of slower paced, more relaxed cinematography in there. It does allow us to learn a lot about Thor and sort of set the scene for his arrival into Doomsday as a character. I have to say, this does convince me more of this teaser has convinced me more of the sort of mini teaser character focused drops they're doing. I am beginning to like that more as a concept. And now that I'm delighted they're releasing them online, it obviously wasn't going very well for Marvel, sadly, with the leaks and everything. So I'm very glad they're releasing them online. But I quite like this as a way of not only making big character announcements, but it's setting up the stages of where we're going into Doomsday. It's not giving us a full trailer, it's not giving us loads of action, but it's a lovely little snapshot into where our characters are, and crucially characters who we haven't actually seen for a while, where they are pre-Doomsday. And I think that's quite a nice way to set the scene before we get into the full intensity of an Avengers Doomsday trailer. So I am personally very, very excited. Like this trailer a lot more than the other one. But what did you think? You can comment down below on the Snapbreak YouTube channel and on our Spotify feed. And if you want to share more in-depth thoughts, you can do so by emailing hwsnapbreakpodcast@gmail.com. For now, though, I have been Ben Goodley. We will hopefully be reacting to the next Doomsday trailer. I believe... Who's the next Doomsday trailer? Oh, sorry. 3 is X-Men, and then 4 is likely to be sort of Fantastic Four and Wakandians. We don't know where Doom's going to come into this picture. I'll be very, very curious to see how that all plays out. But again, only time will tell. For now, though, I have been Blue. This has been a Hungry Cap Hour production. Thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good one. See you soon. Stay safe. Bye.